Yeah, we can start.
Greetings, Sanbonani, Dumelange, Abshini. Hello out there once again. It's your boy AK back again with another episode of Real Talk with AK under the People's Podcast Network. Hey, and we are back. It's a new year, and hey, there's like fresh new brand things, the new year is coming with new things as the podcast is still growing, but those are some of the things that I'll outline after my conversation with my guest for this episode. Hey, but before I actually give him the platform to introduce himself, let us know who he is, what he's doing out there, and then we'll jump into today's episode. Just a quick reminder for our new viewers to click that subscribe button down there, and also go and follow us across all our social media platforms. Our social media handle is at the People's Podcast Network. That's it. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, that's the handle. It's at the People's Podcast Network. But apart from that, let me give my guest the platform to introduce himself. Let us know who he is, what he's doing. Mr. Tlhapane, sir.
How's it?
How's it going, man?
100%. Never felt better.
Welcome to the show.
What can I do? It's been long overdue.
It's been long overdue. By the way, this guy was supposed to be like one of our first guests, when we actually launched the podcast, because it's been there, supporting the podcast since it was actually established, and finally I've gotten the chance to actually pick his brain,
I'm here. I am here. The People's Podcast. For the people, by the people. We're here for the people. We're going to do what we do best. Man. My name's Obakeng Tlhapane. Straight out of the Western Kagiso, Krugersdorp. And it's not a farm, guys. You're not in the farm.
That's stereotype.
And man, it's nice. It's hot. It's warm. It's cooking. We're sipping on something nice and cold, just to, But man, we're here to do our thing, and Thank you for having me, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's have one of the realest talk, But apart from that, don't forget to go and check out our exclusive community there by Patreon, It's actually a community of practical problem solvers and real talkers, It's basically different people from different paths of life coming together, to try and find like practical solutions for practical societal issues without the political affiliations, because at the end of the day, we know where there's corruption, where there's politics, corruption is bound to be there, Those are some of the things that we'll actually be diving into on this episode. Let me not waste any further time. Let me introduce the topic for this episode. So on this episode, we'll actually be talking about load shedding, We actually have a big problem in South Africa at the moment for our international viewers and listeners who are not aware, whereby we spend, it's basically almost a day, without electricity.
I think we need to define, let's define load shedding.
I'm gonna let you get to that one, because at the end of the day, on this episode, we are students. We are here to teach us, so.
I'm no energy expert. I'm just an ordinary citizen that's affected.
A concerned citizen.
A concerned, ordinary citizen, law-abiding citizen. I can add, I think, when it gets to load shedding, we're all affected. We're all affected in South Africa. And basically, load shedding, it's when we've got an energy generating and distribution and transmission company in South Africa called Eskom. So what Eskom does, basically, they're the only company that supplies every household in South Africa with electricity. So over the years, what's been happening is we've encountered a couple of electric generation transmission issues in the country, and bearing in mind the nation grows, the kasi di nna tona, ra extend, so at the end of the day, sometimes it's not enough in that sense. to be equally distributed. I don't know if that's the way I can put it amongst the kasi. But obviously, let me come back to the definition of load shedding.
Yeah.
Load shedding, it's when, and I didn't Google this, by the way, so I'm trying to be as practical as possible.
The more original you can put it,
as original as possible, because it's what I suffer from every day.
Yeah. Even right now, we're working on time because K4 lights out.
Yeah, so load shedding basically it's when the energy generating company tries to preserve tries to preserve electricity so that it can be used on at a later stage. So it's not really like storing the electricity, but it's a matter of producing the electricity over time. So there are times whereby there's breakdown in certain generators, there are certain infrastructural issues as well that happen in whereby the company Eskom tries to see, okay, how can we best try and distribute the electricity through to everybody at a minimum capacity for everybody to operate or be productive at. I don't know if that's the best way I can put it, but yeah, that's what happens with load shedding. And obviously it's been happening over the years up until this current point, whereby now we're having load shedding. It's literally what's today's date? It's the 24th.
24th.
For 2023, we've had load shedding every day.
Non-stop.
Non-stop.
Even on New Year's Day.
Even on New Year's Day, yeah, we did have, and yeah, here we are today. I mean,
so like,
yeah,
what would you say is actually like the main cause of load shedding? Because this problem, it seems like has always been there, because there's a term load shedding, back then, 2008, we were facing the same problem.
Yeah.
Fast forward, 2023,
it's
still the same problem. So what would you say like as the cause of this problem? Because we have seen like people donating players try to increase the capacity to cater for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, look, it has happened for quite some time, and my knowledge is just based on what I've seen what I've read as well over the past couple of months and years is what basically happens is a power station. It's like a house.
Yeah.
If you do not maintain it, it's going to be run down eventually. And at least the house has a standing structure. But electricity generation, it's a 24-hour, 365 process in which it needs to be constantly maintained. So if you ignore one side of a power plant, for example, and concentrate on another side, the side that's going to break might even cause more damage to the other side. So I think as well, what's happened is we haven't really been taking care of those power producing plants, and that's really affected us in the long term. So in a way, it's like we had a short-term solution for a long-term problem. Now look, here's the long-term problem of it is it's tax-paying citizens that bear the brunt. It's big businesses that bear the brunt of can I say negligence in some instances? There could be elements of negligence. And yeah, it's a bit of it could be more technically, what's the word? I think there are more technical aspects to it as well. Besides, for the general, what we do understand is it's the maintenance side. Because I know a plant normally has a lifespan of about 50 years.
50.
Yeah, 50 years a plant. So what happens is the maintenance needs to constantly be done throughout those 50 years. But then at the same time, as civilization expands and there are new developments happening elsewhere, certain parts need to be upgraded. In order for the generation of the electricity to run smoothly for everybody and for the new neighborhoods, and so forth. And today we found ourselves in this mess that we're currently in. And there are options of renewable energy, which
But y'all said no to that option when Konje Kimang, the former president, actually tried introducing it. Who was it? Mr. Jacob Zuma.
Yes.
Because I still recall during those eras, Zuma was for
Yeah, I remember when he when he introduced nuclear, when he said no, let's go the nuclear option because it's got the long term nuclear. It's very we can use it forever.
Forever
and never can light up as many places as it can light up the entire half of Africa if it wanted to, But then they were like, no, environmentalists were like, no, it's gonna ruin the environment. And but what I can take from the previous president Jacob Zuma is load shedding. It started obviously in 2007, 2008, 9.
Yeah.
And it was during Jacob Zuma's time, I think it was decreased.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was gone gone away. I'd say it decreased.
We will go for months without load shedding.
And we would go months and months. I mean, sometimes even a year. I think 2017 or 18, if I remember, we had zero load shedding. And that was under the leadership of the likes of Brian Molefe.
Yeah.
Which
who was serving under the former president.
Correct. He was serving under the former president. But now, the one thing that bothers me in that instance is, what was Brian Molefe doing then that we couldn't adopt now?
Yeah, because, I think 2 weeks back, someone on Twitter actually shared some stats,
Yeah.
He was comparing Zuma's term to Cyril Ramaphosa's term, whereby during Zuma's term, Eskom was busy generating profit
To the 100 billions.
Until Cyril Ramaphosa pulls through to the office. It's loss. The very same year he reported for office. This leads me to my next question, because now there are speculations that, we are not really load shedding.
Yeah.
This is just a strategy, to privatize Eskom. So I want to find out, Jorge, what's your stance on that? Where do you stand? Because we actually have 2 groups in society where that actually believes that Eskom
is being privatized.
It's being privatized. This is a strategy to frustrate the citizens to be like, nah, they can't. The government can't supply us.
Correct.
Rather, give it to someone private.
Yes.
And then you have that other group that's like, nah, this is really happening because these people are chowing money.
I mean, I think it also, like you said, the likes of corruption in government.
Yeah.
It's a catch-22. It's a catch-22. Like I said previously, my previous statement is, what were the likes of Brian Molefe doing that we couldn't take the exact same textbook and apply it and say, okay, we can apply a element of what Brian Molefe was doing previously and obviously tweak it. I have a spender, like we said, and tweak it a bit and say, but obviously, like you say, Jorge, in the time, that the Zuma things were sharp, there was no load shedding, that the Ramaphosa puts into office and there's losses and there's
everybody's complaining.
To be honest, it's a very tough one. It's a catch-22. It's a catch-22 where privatization is good.
How?
No. let me give you. It's good in certain instances whereby people are going to be very hands-on in terms of the running of whatever needs to be run.
Yeah.
But is privatization for the people?
That's why I was like, how? Because now, when you are the only supplier of a product or service, you dictate the prices. I can just wake up and be like, okay, per unit maybe 100 rand.
Correct.
No one will do anything.
Which is what's happening currently with the NERSA price approvals and price hikes that are currently happening. Is Eskom, it's the only energy provider in South Africa which we can call a monopoly.
Yeah.
but that a monopoly was initially for the people to supply Eskom to generate electricity for the people.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of gone away from the people to how can we profit?
It's all about profit now.
From what's happening
money.
currently, And there's been various monies that have been received. I'm not a government official.
Yeah.
I cannot confirm with my two eyes to say X amount was given, but according to the media, money was donated by various nations.
Yeah.
Some even going as far as 500 billion. Some going into the 100 millions and so forth and so forth. So it really makes you think, Korea, where's this money really going? Because do we have a money issue or do we have a leadership issue? What issue do we have? Because now they're saying that, you know what, Eskom, the media, I'll quote them. The media is now saying Eskom is in financial problems.
Yeah, financial crisis.
Financial crisis. But monies had been donated by various
even now,
nations.
money is still being donated.
So now, what issue do we have? Is it somebody maybe taking in money? Whoever that person is? Or is it just another way to hold the money back and say, let's frustrate the citizens even more? And to roll out what's this renewable energy, which I think it's gonna take some time.
Yes.
And it's gonna take years. One, the majority is the bottom of the majority of people don't really have money to put in inverters, generators. How are they gonna be able, how are people gonna live? That's what it's come down to. Mines can support themselves because they are multi-billion rand industries.
Yeah.
They can set up solar farms and so forth and so forth. But the people, like this podcast is for the people, If the people want to come, they must come and also talk. You know, it's that's what I'm saying. Is it's for what about the people? So the ecosystem, it's diluted.
So let's say you are given the opportunity to be part of the Eskom board members or to lead.
Oh yeah.
What are you doing different from the current leadership that's there, to actually address this problem of load shedding? Because after all, what we are trying to do here is find a solution for this problem that we are having.
Now you asked the tough question. But I think, like I said previously, I go find the book that Brian Molefe had. I'll go through the archives and try and look for that book, and find it and say, what was he doing right? Was he having scheduled maintenance? What was he doing right? I think that should be the number one question we should ask ourselves. When leadership goes from right to wrong or whatever, this from good to bad, right to wrong, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We should actually tear a page out of that book to say, okay, what was the good leadership doing? What was the bad leadership doing? And what can we learn from the two? Where is the gap? Exactly. Where is the gap? How can we bridge that gap? And I think that's where things have kind of gotten lost, because everybody wants to come in with their own way of doing things. No, I think we must expand Midupi, for example. In fact, I think we must reduce Kosile. In fact, no, let's reduce Mudupi, Kosile, let's do vice versa. In fact, Kubeg nuclear plant in Cape Town, let's increase people are going to want to come up with their own way of doing things, which at the end of the day, it becomes like society is testing like a lab, whereby we're trying to see people's reaction.
Always experimenting.
We're always experimenting, and there's no straight answer to certain things that we want. In terms of load shedding, to this day, we also want answers. To say, what happened? What's going on? The media is reporting this.
Politicians are saying this,
and we are getting this. So you see, the gap just keeps getting bigger and bigger as we go along the way for the average South African citizen, for the average person on Nangmokasi, for That's the problem. And the funny thing is, we you and me, we're accustomed to having electricity. We're accustomed to it. When I was in Rustenburg, back home, the electricity went off and my grandfather was absolutely fine about it. And the reason being, he made me understand to say, you know what, we didn't grow up with electricity.
Yeah, it makes sense.
We're accustomed to living, making, a fire. We're accustomed to those things. Cooking.
Through fire,
Exactly, through fire, coal stoves.
Or iron, those coal irons.
Exactly. So, electricity would be what? To charge a phone. So they can just communicate.
Television, computers.
That's, So if he says to me, I just need electricity just to charge a phone.
Yeah.
And I'm fine. I'm fine. I can live. I won't die without it. But we're so accustomed to it that we literally run everything. This podcast is running on electricity.
Exactly.
We're not going to run it on fire, And here we are today, It's the way things have turned. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it just kind of shows us as well, our human mind, that do we really have to adapt to load shedding?
As the citizens, why are the citizens so chilled about this? Because the other day I was talking to Majita, I was even asking her, we have so many citizens complaining through via these various social media platforms, both Twitter, both Facebook.
Yeah.
In the Twitter, it's the worst.
Yes.
But when it's time to be on the ground, it's hard.
And I think going back to that, I think maybe as South Africans as well, we're a docile nation.
Yeah.
We just kind of take things lying down. Somebody else will come up with a solution. And in other countries, in the likes of France, Germany, when those people go on strike, they will go on strike.
And they will storm even
and they will storm the
buildings,
chemical if they have to. They will run things. Because obviously the media kind of shuts us out from seeing how other things happen around the world. Our content is very controlled.
Yeah.
In terms of what happens.
Control the narrative too much.
Exactly. The narrative is too controlled.
That's why we started this podcast, because we're so honestly narrative it's a push, so now it's time to actually start the free platforms whereby that promote free speech,
Correct.
Creative thinking and so forth,
Correct. And that's why we're here today. To say what we gotta say. And yeah, man, it's really, it's just the way things have become. I can't even really. It's bad because look, I run a business.
Yeah.
My business, I need electricity. Why? Because I need to print.
Yeah.
I need to use my laptop. I need to use Wi-Fi. Those things that I need to do in order for my business to
run. They revolve around electricity.
Exactly. They revolve around electricity. And now that means if 6 in the morning, from 6 to 8, that means I need to be up 2 hours earlier in order for me to kind of cover those 2 hours.
2 hours.
To do my work, print this, scan that, and then send it through, and then wait from 6 to 8 o'clock. And then I continue from there doing what I do, So it's a bit of a hectic one. And sorry, we kind of just went off the topic. Like I was saying, is I think as South Africans we got a habit of taking things lying down.
Yeah.
Of saying, government will solve it. In other nations, they take to the streets. They take to the streets. They will burn down buildings that they have to. They will burn down everything to get the attention of whoever is running whatever, whether it's a government department or whatever. But they'll do something about it. If in countries like Germany, correct me if I'm wrong. If you're German and you're watching this, I remember. I think I was reading I can't remember where I was reading. It's definitely is it Chappies. Did you know? I think it was Did You Know?
Those Did You Know?
Yeah, those Did You Know facts. And they said that in Germany, all motorists park their cars in the streets, like the N1.
Yeah.
And they left them there because of the fuel price was too high.
I think I once saw an article on that too. Like they were protesting the fuel prices.
Correct.
Like it was too much. Everyone left their cars on the free and
Exactly.
like, no one is moving.
Exactly. Until we have something done about this. But now, in South Africa, now I think it's very...
Okay, can I revisit the concept? If it doesn't affect me.
If it doesn't affect me, I get gain.
I get that. Count me out.
Count me out.
It's one of those things.
So I think that's if we really collectively thought as citizens to say, okay, this load shedding must stop.
Yeah.
Something will be done about it. But the fact that we're not doing anything about it, nothing will happen. So we're not really saying, in other countries they will take to the streets. No jokes. Because they believe our government
and government is the people. That's the other thing, the citizens of this country, it's too bad.
Yeah.
They'll always say government this, while forgetting government is the people.
Exactly.
Meaning the power lies within us as a collective. Correct. But we're not making use of it, We're not totally making use of it.
Yeah.
So, let me just ask, with load shedding came various challenges,
Yeah.
So, how will you say, load shedding has affected our economy in general, Because, you hear people complaining for, buy issues,
Yo, I wanna now, when it gets to the economy, it gets even more sensitive because now we just came out of COVID. And now COVID, everything stopped. Economy shut down. Yeah. Everything stopped.
Everything was on pause.
Everything was on pause. You couldn't even leave your yard to go wherever, And then after COVID, now it's post-COVID.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, we got load shedding.
To recover.
We're still trying to recover, and people are still losing jobs. People lost jobs. We're still losing jobs. What more are we going to lose? The unemployment is skyrocketing like it's no one's business because companies can't afford to pay people.
Because there are instances in some companies, two of my homies were telling me that they're by their workplace, when electricity buys, when load shedding hits, the boss subtracts 2 hours on a daily basis.
Imagine.
So it's eating.
And labor laws aren't protecting that.
Yeah.
Whereby they say, okay, if there is load shedding, you cannot take from someone. But now at the end of the day, now this is what happens is, okay, labor laws protect people so that their pays are not deducted during load shedding.
Right.
But now the other side is the economics of it is the companies is impacted financially because obviously the production that they need to do won't really give them the output for them to be able to cover those costs.
Yeah.
So it has it's like a vicious cycle. So you don't deduct from someone's pay. I'm just trying to show you the good and the bad of it.
Yeah.
You don't deduct from someone's pay. The company suffers financially in the long term. You deduct from someone's pay. Maybe everybody might have jobs in the long term.
Yeah.
So it's a catch-22. It's not wrong and that's not right, but there needs to be a protected ecosystem for everybody to operate in.
Yeah.
Both the employee and the employer. Maybe if they say they're not taking the pay at 2 hours, but if they maybe say, okay, we'll cut a portion because it's unproductive.
Yeah.
Because
maybe 40%.
Maybe 40%. Yeah, 40%. So the company can operate and in the long term,
Right.
But then the effects of it is companies are shutting down. Businesses are shutting down. If I'm operating my business, I'm even suffering. I suffer indirectly because I might call small businesses, and they're the biggest, employers of the economy. 1,000, for example, 1,000 small businesses. If they hire 8 people, hypothetically, If they hire 8 people, that's 8,000 people employed. Just the simple side of it. So those are other things that we got to. I mean, look as well without with load shedding. Just extending on what I was saying. There's things like cybersecurity. Electricity shuts down, your firewalls go down.
Bang,
You know, hackers from outside are watching South Africa like this. Hackers will hack. Electricity comes back, someone's hacked your network. Money's leaving a bank account. So the effects go from national security through to you and me sitting here today. You can't even edit your work timelessly because of load shedding. You know, whereby previously, you know, okay, I can edit from 10 in the morning till about 6 in the afternoon, evening.
Yeah.
It's cool, you know? And it's crazy, you know, load shedding, there's tigers escaping.
Hey, that's another one.
You know?
Because now those stop operating because of electricity.
The electric fence wasn't working. The tiger saw a chance. Jungle Roots decided to run, you know?
Issues are many,
Issues are many, you know?
Yeah. Sweet. So let's just take a quick short break, you know. We'll be back after the short break.
We'll be back.
But apart from that, you know, it's been an interesting conversation.
It's been interesting.
You know. I'm enjoying it, you know. We are still learning as practical problem solvers and real talkers, you know.
That's it.
But apart from that, don't forget to go and subscribe for our weekly newsletter there by thepeoplespodcast.wordpress.com, you know. That's where you'll get the updates of everything that's happening currently with regards to the podcast, because we actually have 2 events lined up for February, you know. The first one is on the 18th of February. There's the Love Affair Single and Mingle session, you know. So for the month of love, no one is supposed to be single, you know. No one is supposed to be single. So pull through, come have a great time. We'll be having different activities, you know, from curated performances, you know. And then Kadi 26, don't forget that we'll be hosting our first session for the year for unspoken words, soul, poetry and jazz sessions, you know. With that one, you know what's up. I don't even have to explain, you know, because you've been pulling through. And also for everyone who's been supporting us, you know. But apart from that, we'll be back after this quick short break. So Lele, thank you. And we are back again, guys, from our short break. Hey, that was a quick one, you know. And we are still on that path of seeking practical solutions for practical societal issues. Hey, so, you know, it will be dope if you actually join us on this path by actually going and signing up there for our exclusive community, you know, there by patreon.com/realtalkwithak.com, you know. Basically, like I said earlier on, you know, different people from different paths of life coming together, you know, to try and find practical solutions for practical societal issues. And that's why you can also coop yourself up with like the podcast merchandise, you know. We have t-shirts, hoodies, you know, we even have mugs, you know. That's another way of supporting the podcast, you know, if you want to see us grow, if you want to see the People's Podcast Network grow, you know. But apart from that, you know, we are still talking about load shedding and corruption, you know. Load shedding and corruption, because, you know, those are the 2 things that are actually, you know, affecting us as citizens of this country, you know. It's tough in the streets, it's really tough. And, you know, I'm still being joined by Mr. Obakeng Tlhapane. We are still continuing with our conversation. So, let me get back to him in the studio. Mr. Tlhapane, sir.
Yes, sir.
And we are back. So,
we're back.
Like, as we are talking about load shedding during the first segment, you know, I want us now to actually also touch on, like, the party of corruption, you know. What's the link, like, between load shedding and corruption, you know, Komzansi? How is corruption, you know, playing part in this problem, load shedding?
Look, corruption is corruption has a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Corruption, something happens here, it affects us down here.
Yeah.
You know, that's what happens with corruption and corruption, from what I've heard, has always existed. And corruption can never be good, regardless of how beneficial it is to people or a certain group of people. So, in the instance of corruption having a hand in load shedding, I think we would sit here and talk till sunset. What's all? But things that I can touch on, just bits and pieces that I can touch on, is, like I said already, the ripple effect of it is somebody does something. So, for example, logistics. You know logistics.
Yeah.
So guys load coal on a truck that needs to deliver to Eskom. Instead of coal, they put in the rocks. These rocks get put into the plant. The plant, what happens, it breaks down. But the service provider was paid. So the service provider does things knowing or it is wrong to get value out of it or make money out of it. And I found with corruption, it's a lengthy topic. It's very, very lengthy because corruption happens in all ways of society. It can even happen in a household.
Yeah,
a simple household, it can happen. It happens in all structures of, I can't say all structures.
Almost 95% of all our government institutions.
Correct.
Corruption is there.
Let me rephrase it. Not all, but 95%. It exists somewhere. You know, and what's sad is about corruption is if it happens at the top, who are the guys that, like, the guys at the bottom have no control over it. If it happens at the top level.
Yeah.
If it happens at the bottom level,
well, it's a problem.
As well, it's still another problem. Is it something that we can completely diminish? I don't know. Because it is a human element.
Yeah.
You know, it's leaving something here and somebody coming and taking it and exchanging it for something of less value, or even taking it.
Or just spiking
or
it.
Just spiking it even, you know. So corruption's very, it's very lengthy. It's very lengthy. But corruption does have a role in load shedding.
Yeah.
It's got a very big role, I believe. It's gotten us to where we are now with load shedding, with the various stages. I never thought we'd reach stage 6, 7, 8.
Because now it's permanent. It's actually a permanent stage
2 or 3.
Stage 2 and 3, isn't it?
For 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, so it's it touches me. That's the thing. You know, you know when there's so much of something, it really touches you. It's so hard for you to want to articulate it into words and you know, and kind of say it, or no, this is what's going on. You know, it's a lot. It's just too much. Corruption, it's the pothole.
Hey.
Corruption, you know, potholes. I mean, look, service providers can come with cheap material. Sometimes governments we cannot never always really blame government. Sometimes suppliers come with cheap material.
Just the other day, there were giants here by my street, barrels.
Hey.
But you know, I'm even looking. I'm like, oh, finally they're fixing this pothole. When I got there, when I was about to pass, you know what they were doing?
Yeah.
Pouring concrete sand there, you know, just after that leveling, and then they left.
And then the service provider is going to get paid for that.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's, you see, It's just too much. Obviously, government, yeah, we have to hold government accountable because there were supposed to be people that overlook such things.
Yeah.
But can they always really be there, those people? Now it comes down to integrity. Integrity Bella comes from household.
Yeah.
What are you doing when nobody's watching? You know, it's a house. I think now some things have filtered down to them being a household issue. For them to being what type of household do you come from? We're talking about drugs, and just to go off the topic a bit, me and a friend of mine were talking about drugs, and he's saying in this particular area there's a drug problem. I'm like, okay, there's a drug problem, but now if your next door neighbor takes drugs and you don't take drugs, what problem is it? It's a household issue. Yeah. It's not a problem of society, the area, but it's a problem of household. Are you taught already? Those things are dangerous at household level. You take them, you will be addicted to them, and you could die from them.
So it's a matter of arrogance.
It's upside, you know. But I think like the same goes into things, the likes of governance and so forth. Some things are more of a household issue that need to filter out to the immediate society. Then they need to filter out into our work society in order for us to be able to run things with integrity and with good governance. Yeah. But we don't really look at it like that. We always, this is the problem. But it starts honestly at household level. Yeah. Household level. There's things that we need to learn at household level that must carry us out through society. Yeah. But now here's the issue. The issue is, with corruption is, I'm an aspiring politician. Yeah. So obviously I have my vision and I want to drive out corruption. Yeah. Obviously, like anybody, you have to start at the lowest level in order for you to move up the ranks. Yeah. Me standing outside, I say, hey, I want to change this. I get into the system, which is a turning, rotating wheel. I'm standing outside and I'm like, I want to change this.
I get in,
the wheel is turning. I must also turn with the wheel.
So
you know,
when you get there, you wanna feel about Tomaka Brown and below, where they're like, here's to Kenyan.
Here's something.
And it's more of a test of, we just want to see if it's corrupt or what, you know, when they do those things, you know.
So the thing of corruption is, it's really
it's a lot. I get it.
I wouldn't say it's complex, it's straightforward, but it's a lot. Yeah. Can we really stop corruption?
Aye. That's a tough fight. That's a tough fight, because I can say I'm fighting corruption, but there are instances where, you know, it also benefits, you know, I also benefit from it. If I were to ask majority of y'all, how did y'all get your licenses, your learners, you know, basic stuff? Yeah. That's part of corruption.
Element of corruption.
You see.
So it's a lot. Yeah. So it filters out whereby. But the problem is when it becomes a culture. Yeah. That's where the problem with not even from day one when it happens.
How can we actually minimize the
impact,
the level and impact of corruption within our government institutions? Because as Hobona like a load shedding, by you have a CEO who's sitting on a pension fund close to 2.6 million. You see,
or even more. I mean, so I'm trying to articulate this as best as possible. You know, we can mitigate, reduce it to an extent. The rest of the system would rely on the human element, but that would require a lot of auditing work to be done to try and reduce corruption within certain government departments. It would require a lot of auditing overseeing, monitoring, evaluating. It's going to require a lot of that. But
a whole new level of transparency.
A whole new level of transparency, But now the other side is, who's going to be willing to do that? To do all that monitoring, evaluating, all that whole that side of transparency. And when they do it, will they not be corrupted in the process? That's the human element, that I'm thinking about. So what do? Do you get an auditor from outside? You can get an auditor from outside, but still.
You can still influence an auditor from outside. It's been happening. Because usually with government, it's external auditors by users on, but it's still there because I know, okay, maybe Mr. Tlhapane has an auditing company.
Correct.
And we usually share this stuff during the weekend.
Correct.
I can go to him there, he works the magic,
clean audit.
and then I report a clean audit, everything is back to normal. I'm close to 10 meet. So, like, back to load shedding, and especially with like the Eskom board.
Yes.
I just want to find out how you feel about this, like we currently have like board members called Eskom.
Correct.
And we have a problem of load shedding. These board members have been trying to deal with this thing. But it seems like there's not even one qualified person.
No, that's the other side. You see now, expertise. Expertise, no, it's this thing 50 times worse. Because now, in my opinion, if we had to choose a CEO now, I'd get a qualified guy in electrical or in an MSc, in a PSc field that has experience. Versus just getting a guy that has an MBA that only knows, and I'm talking about now, a guy that can actually understand what are the exact needs.
Because we actually have, different individuals, actually
Correct.
coming up with new ways,
Correct.
new sources of power. Just the other day, I saw I think it was a video on Facebook, of where this guy was using, I think it's chlorophyll or chlorine. Mixing it with water to make like light bulbs.
Yes. There are hundreds of individuals that can invent new things.
So, why are we not making use of these people? Because, I feel like we are currently living in times where, people are actually using their brains.
Correct.
We are just not giving them that attention in society,
But who must give them the attention? Is it you, me, or is it the government?
Government.
See, so the government must what? Empower them or enable them for them to be able to show what they can do. But as well, are they getting that platform to be able to do that? If there are platforms to do certain things, there's a lot more that we can achieve. But as well, does corruption play a part in it as well? Just you coming up with the invention and so it's like I said, it's the ripple effects of corruption. It's short term we're solving a problem, but in the long term it's going to hurt us. And that's the whole thing about corruption. It starts here, but by the time it gets here,
Too much.
And so
it's hectic.
It is.
So I just want to find out, one of those questions I felt because lately since load shedding has worsened in South Africa, you have elders, our elders, when you're chilling with them, you'll hear them being like, sometimes I feel like apartheid was much more better.
I've heard that. 100. That I've heard.
So what's your take? Do you also believe that apartheid was better because, all government institutions were being run effectively, even though corruption was there, but it was minimum,
I'll tell you the truth. we didn't experience apartheid. You and me. We didn't experience we weren't there.
Yeah.
You know. So I can't say it was better or it was worse. But our parents are saying it was far better.
Yeah.
You know, because when the government was being run by the previous regime, there was a lot that was happening in South Africa. There was a lot. What we have is the ripple effects of apartheid.
Yeah.
We don't have the exact. We aren't there, but we see the ripple effects of what happened, of education, of But apartheid did take care of the healthcare systems, let's say the education, because it was Bantu education. But it's those things of, if they found you in the streets at 10 o'clock at night, what are you doing at 10 o'clock at night? And the rest, But now, if you are a student during the day roaming around in a uniform, what are you doing? You're supposed to be in school. Those are certain things that you can kind of break from apartheid. Job creation was there. Because industry obviously needed matsogo.
Yeah. Labor, basically.
Yeah, we are the labor, And now, if you all work in a household, you're able to support. If your mom and dad both work, you're able to support your household. Everybody's able to eat. The economy is able to run. But now, is it better? I'll be honest. I don't know. And that's me being honest. Because I didn't experience
Yeah.
But that experienced them, they like to say that statement.
Almost
all of them.
Everyone who was there back then, how would it feels like apartheid
things were more controlled.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of it's a complex one.
Yeah.
Because I want to thoroughly comment on it, but had I experienced it, and I would have had the opportunity to say, definitely it was better or it was worse. So now, how do we make things better from here, from this point?
That's the main question.
Is the main question. Because now what happened in the past, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But going forward, how do we make things better? That's my concern. How do you make things better? So that your kids can live in a better environment. Let me rather say a better ecosystem. Not the environment, a better ecosystem, a good health system, good education, so forth and so forth and so forth. So we should look at a nation, capacity building. I don't know if I can say a capacity building or a nation building plan, so that it carries over for the jara until. Generational knowledge. Not to the short-term solutions will till December and then have that same problem next year. I find that's the type of problem solving that we are faced with right now, I think, in South Africa. It's short term, but it affects us long term. And now, in the short term, we are happy that this problem is fixed. It's like potholes, like I was saying. Concrete. It rains after Marich. It's worse. Vienno. Why is a new street?
Like a new start.
A new start. Take apart the whole street. We know the street will obviously have a lifespan of 10 years. 10 years, we know after 10 years, we just maybe can a pothole there, using quality products and providing the quality service with the necessary expertise. For or no, this thing right. So as a nation.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
What affects you here in Garissa There's a chance it might affect someone in Free State.
Right now, I feel like, as citizens of this country, basically the same problem, Kaufela, because the basis of our problem, electricity.
That's the starting one.
That's the starting one. Issues are many, when it comes to all these government services, legislature
processes.
Like all these processes, sometimes they even start being on section 40.
The section 40 of what?
You'll be there like, why do you need section 40 for? Just fixing a road. Why does it have to be like a long process for you to also fella, chelete, iloreka taro to go shop, supply a jig fella, it's a strata hospital. Like, they make this process so long. So we almost at the conclusion, for our episode, but I still have last two questions, Senyana, maybe, before I actually let you go,
Yeah. Most def.
So we actually spoke about those individuals in society who are actually finding other means to generate electricity and so forth.
Yeah.
What do you think our government or businesses, can do to actually support those individuals to actually maybe bring those solutions, because they are part of the solutions?
Correct.
Recognition because of maybe finance, maybe maybe poor marketing.
Correct.
So what can our government do and we people do to actually support these individuals
I mean, what the government can do is, if they go to government, right, the likes of NYDA, CFAs, your innovation hubs, your Cybono, there are those platforms that can be approached by an individual, can do a presentation based on what they do, and get assistance to have access to certain markets from the likes of the innovation hub. So example, most guys right now, I think the innovation hub gets, and I'm saying I think, they get inventions at least every day of something being invented, of maybe a phone cover that actually has I've seen a phone cover that's got a solar panel at the back, and you just plug it in and you just leave it in the sun like this. Charge.
That's dope.
That was the most dopest thing I've ever seen.
Especially the load shedding. Right now, legitimately, you can't even have your phone charged fully to 100%.
You cannot.
It's highly impossible. Can I lose your phone charge bosigo ke logile. Mtlakase o tsamaye. O jige, ga o jiga ya charge another 2 hours, save 80%. That's the maximum to buy a high rate later phone.
It's nakapilaga power bank. My lady bought me a power bank. So in which I alternate between the two. If I'm not charging the power bank, I'm charging my phone. And I leave my bedroom light on so that when the electricity comes back, I can go and charge my phone.
Now it's back.
Now it's back. Now I can charge my phone. But going back to what you're saying in terms of these individuals that have the talent to actually design those renewable or things that can give power. I think government is there. I think sometimes Lorna is about because of rejection.
If confidence,
if Thomas Edison turned the light bulb, I think it's 900 times before he got it right. What's making us scared to go and knock on doors? And I think fear people have there are 1,000 good ideas.
Fear is the enemy.
Fear is the enemy. But now those 1,000 ideas, some of them are in the graveyard. Brilliant ideas that would have changed the world. But had somebody taken the step to say, let me go and knock on the door, I get rejected, go home, refine it, go back, knock on the door, ask, why are you rejecting me? You're rejecting me because of A, B, C, D. Okay, I'll go and do research around those things. and try and improve my product based around those things. If you can assist me with funding so that I can make this actual prototype, bring it to you, for you to approve it, get it approved by SABS, so that there are not any, laws that I'm breaking, any modifications, patents. Is there somebody else in the world who's doing it, etc., legislation of what I'm doing and so forth. So I think as Batulorna, we mustn't be scared. We must put our foot forward and say, I've invented this. When I put this here, this is what it does. It switches on. We must get out there and make sure our thing, as black people, we must make sure our things get out there. Even if we must keep knocking.
Kick down this door.
Kick down those doors. We must keep knocking until rejection is not the end. You must fall in love with rejection first before you can be accepted.
That's very profound.
That's my ideology. I say that's the only way. That is the only way you can make it in this world. Knock. But you will get there. You will get there. You will make it no matter what. But scacha. If your invention is really good, the world will see it. It's they will see it, definitely. Mar, do not give up. That's what I tell, most guys that have ideas and they want to give up. It's pointless to have the idea. And if you have an idea up here, one thing you must do is put it on paper. It can only make sense when it's on paper. I have guys that come to me and say, I've got a business idea. The first thing I say is, do you have it on paper? No? Okay, I can't.
Those are a lot.
You can't help that.
Coming when I have a business plan. Okay, proposal, let's see. So
you can't help someone who's just because things only make sense when you read them on paper.
When it's on paper.
Up here, it's just a movie.
Yeah, just touching and something when it's on paper.
Yeah,
it's written in full. But as soon as I articulated,
correct.
The spice now, I've spiked it there.
Correct.
Can see that I sentence, skip the points. So on paper, it follows sequence. So, okay, I know how my step 1 is supposed to be here, my step 2 is supposed to be here.
It's organized.
So
yeah. It's organized, it's logical, it makes sense. But guys, put it down on paper, knock on those doors. That's all I can say. Yeah, for those individuals that are making those renewable energy tools out there, who've got those products that need to be seen, push up. Yeah.
So, this is my last question. By the way, before I actually let you go, because, it's been one dope, hella conversation, I've been enjoying it, we've been learning with the practical problem solvers,
Yeah.
We spoke about privatizing Eskom as an alternative to our problem.
Yes.
Is it really the only alternative that we have as individuals? Because, ever since we got load shedding, it's been public, private.
The war of public and private.
I just want to find out if maybe, don't you think there's another strategy that can be applied, to solving the problem?
Look, privatization is or was one of the options, like you said.
Yeah.
I think it's just as simple as fixing the Eskom household. That's where I say it's as simple as starting the household, whereby now you have a team of expertise that have free reign over the things that they need to do, and they understand their duties of what they need to do. And the reason why I'm going with guys that have expertise is the problem will be solved, I wouldn't say quicker, but they'll have an idea as to what to do with the problem. Versus now just having people over, just being nominated into a pod just because they are.
They should keep politicians away from this thing. Simple like that.
And it shouldn't be like that. It should be people of expertise in that field that are put into these SOEs or positions that can actually add valid input, where the decision making is clear and it makes sense. It's not just a guy who is there and people are coming to report to him or her. Because now in that instance, what happens is the very same people that report to you, they will rob somewhere somehow.
How feel like price has $5 I'm like 5,000. You don't know anything about it.
Because you know nothing about it.
5,000 or 10,000.
Industry, you know, that's what happens. Because why? You don't understand the industry. You know, I think that's guys with expertise and with good leadership would actually redirect Eskom. That's what I believe. We don't really, it's like saying because your house has a problem, it doesn't mean you must leave your house and go to extension 8 or extension 6. You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. It means you have to fix here. You know, your dad being the head of the household, being the CEO, you'll need to
fix everything.
He needs to delegate to you to say, you must do the grass, cut the grass, I'll paint the roof. You know?
We are not leaving.
Exactly. We are not leaving. We must fix the house. And that's what's happening with Eskom. Or are you willing to move into another room? Privatization bill is like moving into another room.
You're paying rent now.
Exactly.
You were chilling. You know, you're done with the bond. Because of a small problem, you want to leave, you know. But it's been an interesting episode, you know.
Most def.
I've actually enjoyed, you know, chilling with you, you know. Considering that, you know, it's been a while we've been talking about having you join us on the episode.
Hey.
So I'm really glad that you actually took the time, you know, to actually join us on the first episode of Real Talk with AK for the year 2023. But apart from that, you know, it's been an interesting conversation. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Before I actually let you go, I just want to know if there's anything you would like to say to our viewers.
All I'd like to say is love one another, love each other, spread the love, show the peace. And keep doing you, be authentically you, be as genuine as possible, have good intentions. And God is king.
Yes.
Thank
you, Mr. Tlhapane, you know. Yeah. But apart from that, to our viewers and listeners, don't forget to go check out our exclusive community there by Patreon. Once again, it's patreon.com/realtalkwithak.com, and you can also sign up for the weekly newsletter or our blog, you know, just to stay updated with what's happening, because we've just recently launched like an artist management agency. We're also like venturing into the event management industry, you know, and we have also started, you know, to provide for like music video services. So if you're like an artist, you need visuals, or you're working on a documentary, just go and visit thepeoplespodcast.wordpress.com for more details. You know, it's there in full. But apart from that, you can also join in on the conversation using the hashtag Real Talk with AK or the hashtag The People's Podcast Network.
Like and subscribe. Hit the bell,
and
baby.
Subscribe, bing, 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 and share with your family and friends. But apart from that, it's a wrap from us. Thank you.
Peace.